Hey guys, I'm Kaz James, and you probably know me mostly from my workout videos. I put a lot of those up. But tonight we're actually at my home church, Compassion City Church, and this is my good friend. Introduce yourself.
I'm Ryan King.
What we're doing here is we're actually here for a Bible study called Upper Room. So we just get together and worship the Lord, and we have a lot of, they call themselves speakers, but I say young ministers actually just talking about Jesus and how he changes your life and changes the world that you're in. So do you have anything else to add, Ryan?
Yeah. I started coming here about 8 months ago, and I just, everybody just makes you feel so welcome here, and that's just one thing that I love about coming to Compassion City Church is that everybody makes you feel like you're at home, and they just make you feel like you're just a part of them. They just make you feel like a brother and a sister, and just love like as Christ loved us.
Well, guys, the speaker tonight is Pullen. He follows the Lord, and the fruit that he bears in his life is amazing. And he's the one that's going to be doing the speaking tonight. And I hope you guys enjoy it. See.
The title of tonight's message is The Flawless Flaw. And I know it sounds like a contradiction, but just hang on tonight and let's see where this goes. Glad Trev's here. Trev needs upper room. So just setting up the context of what's going on. So this is a guy that he retreats after this, and he's probably upset because his parents have even abandoned him in a sense, and everybody's turned against him when everybody should be happy for him for the blessing that's come. But beginning right here is that in verse 35 is that Jesus heard that they had cast him out. They not being just the Pharisees, but they also being his parents, had cast him out, and having found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" And I really want that first part of the verse. Jesus heard that they had cast him out, and having found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" And what I wrote down is that, and Jesus went after the one that society had kicked away, his parents had kicked away, and that everybody had pushed him away through this story. And it really touched my heart because, Jesus came into the world to stand up for you when nobody else would. Jesus came into the world to lay down for your sins and lay down on the cross so he could stand over your sins. Jesus was the one that was always been here for us. And you see that in the story that the man mentioned in the story was physically blind. But the Pharisees were spiritually blind. And the Bible says in Psalms that it is much worse to be spiritually blind than to be physically blind. You see, because the blind man couldn't see the world, but he still believed in the Word. But the Pharisees didn't see the Word being Jesus, as John 1 tells us, that he was the physical manifestation of God in a human form, but they didn't believe in it. And you see, but in this story, and in everything that's gone on and everything, this man, you have to realize, he's had this since birth, and he's probably thought that his life's not been the same as everybody else. He's been cast out. He hasn't had the same enjoyment of life that he's always had. And they're wondering, and the people approach Jesus, and in John chapter 9, verse 3, and it says, they asked him, they said, "Why is it that this man is blind? Is it his sin or is it his parents' sin?" Jesus answered, "It was not that this man sinned or his parents, but the work of God might be displayed into him." And you see, it's better to have, what Jesus is saying here is that it's okay to have a flaw. It's okay to have a crack in you, because how many people know that if you have a vase and you have a light sitting up here with a lamp in it, or if we were to take that door and cut a line into it, the light that is on the other side would get through, but it's only because of that crack. And I think a lot of times we keep thinking that the walk with Christ is about perfection and having nothing wrong with us. But Christ never calls you to perfection. He calls you to strive for righteousness. And that's what I want to talk about tonight, is that same thing that I know I've carried around for so long, is that one flaw, is that one crack that we can all think. And maybe it's not like everybody else's. Maybe everybody looks at something different. But I wonder wonder if in that crack and in that thing that you think God doesn't want nothing to do with, if that's the very thing that He would show up and heal. That's the very thing that He would show up and show Himself with. And you see, as Jesus just said, the flaw in the situation can be what God shows up flawlessly through. Because it was the fact that the man had blindness that he got vision. It was the fact that the man had something wrong with him that he needed Jesus to show up in. And what's this mean to us? It means that a season of obvious depression can be what God shows up with joy. It can mean that a season of brokenness can be exactly what God shows His fullness through. The thing that we're trying to hide, and when we show up to church and it's the same thing every Thursday night, it's the same thing every Sunday morning, we can show up. But it's that thing we want to hide. We want to put behind closed doors and hide. Because we think we're too ashamed of it to let God have it. See, the man might have been too ashamed to let God have his blindness. But it was only when God got his blindness that the man got his vision. And see, I wonder how many things that we hold into our lives. And that if we would only let God enter into the situation, that would be where the true change happens.
Hey guys, Cash James here. I know it's a weird place to do this, but what you just saw was part one of Jacob Pullen speaking at Upper Room. I didn't know he was going to speak that long, so we're going to have to split his up into two parts. So be looking for part two of Jacob Pullen speaking, and I hope you guys enjoyed the first part. I'll see you guys later.